Hello students, how are you all? Welcome to AIM Chemistry, Learn Chemistry with Miss Poonam. In this video, we will focus on second unit, that is Quantitative Kinetics. Before directly to past papers, first we will understand mark specification given by Ministry of Education. So this is our second unit, Quantitative Kinetics, and it has a weightage of 26%, second highest weightage, and total marks are 18. In exam you will find 3 MCQs, knowledge based, application based and reasoning based. 3 MCQs will be there, and for extended response you will find 15 marks, mainly 4 marks on knowledge based question, 8 marks on application based question and 3 marks are on reasoning based. So students, now we will solve past paper. So same 23-24 paper we will solve here. Here is the first question. So for the rate equation, rate is equal to rate constant into concentration of A power raised to 2 and concentration of B. What is the unit for the rate constant K? So students, here we need to calculate unit for rate constant. So to calculate unit for rate constant, we need to first write down rate equation. Rate is equal to rate constant square concentration of B. Actually power is 1, so we do not write power 1. Here we have to rearrange this equation because we need to find out unit for rate constant. So K is equal to rate divided by concentration of A power raised to 2 and concentration of B. To calculate unit, we need to know what is the unit of rate and what is the unit of concentration. As unit of rate is, we measure rate in change in concentration per unit time. So unit of rate is mole per cubic decimeter second inverse, and concentration unit is moles per cubic decimeter cube. So here concentration of A is power 2 and concentration of B mole cubic decimeter, so is equal to K. So student, here we can directly cancel out unit and second inverse. We can simplify this unit. It is mole square and 3 into 2 6, it will be minus 6 is equal to K. In a simple way, again we can simplify it. It will be mole, as this is denominator, when it will go in numerator sign will change, so minus 2 dm decimeter 6 power second inverse is equal to K. So student, this is the unit of rate constant. And now if you know the reaction is third order, as we can see here, this is a second order with respect to A and first order with respect to B. If you can directly learn unit for third order reaction, so directly you can learn this unit, mole negative power and dm 6 power and second inverse. You will get unit for rate constant. So here we can find our answer. So your answer is C. The second question is, the decomposition of dimethyl ether at 504 degrees Celsius is a first order reaction. You need to mention here student, first order reaction with a half life of 1570 seconds. So what is the fraction of initial amount of dimethyl ether that remains after 6280 seconds? So student, this is a quite different problem, and here you have to find out the fraction left after this time, that is 6280 seconds. So here we need to use a very simple formula. So we will use formula for first order reaction. When order is first order reaction, the amount of substance left or fraction remaining is equal to half life to the power n. So student, here we need to understand what is this n and why we wrote here half. So where you can note down this formula, where n is equal to number of half lives. From this number you can calculate number of half lives for first order reaction. And what is the meaning of half? Half means, student, after one half life, half of the original substance remain. Original substance remains. So we have this formula for fraction remaining for first order reaction, because in problem it is mentioned that it's a first order reaction. So our first aim is to calculate n. So when we need to calculate n, we can change color. So n is equal to total time, we can say total time passed is divided by half life. So in problem it is given our total time pass is 6280, and half life is also given, that is 1570. Both are in seconds, so no need to convert. So when you divide 6280 by 1570, we get answer 4. So student, n is equal to 4. Please note down this. So we get n is equal to 4. That means n means here 4 number of half lives are 4 half lives are there. So we will put this into formula. Fraction remaining is equal to half of n is equal to, now we got 4. So we can solve it. It will be, you can pause video and you can solve it, 1/16. So student, this is our answer, that is fraction remaining after time 6280 seconds will be 1:16. So we can check answer. Yeah, we have here answer. Our answer is D, that is 1:16. Now let us discuss third MCQ. This is a 6, but from quantitative kinetics it's a third MCQ. So student, for the reaction between x and y, xy is a product where the rate expression is given, rate is equal to rate constant x to the power 2. So which of the following reaction concentration graph represent this reaction? So student, here simply the first thing we need to know what is the order of reaction. So already rate expression is given. So rate is equal to rate constant a to the power 2. Now from this power we can find out that this is a second order reaction. When we analyze order of reaction, it's a second order reaction. And So in case of second order reaction, we can clearly see that from this expression there is a no linear relationship. So we need to note down some point. So no linear relationship is there as like a first order reaction. So you will get curve in graph, you will get curve, but if you see we have two curves, so we have to eliminate possibility of A and B. We need to concentrate on C and D. So which curve you will get, so that we need to find out. So here rate concentration graph is not a straight line as like a first order reaction. The graph we will get, it's a curve. So we will understand this curve by plotting graph. Which type of curve you will get? This is our x-axis, this is y-axis. On x-axis concentration of x and concentration of given x, and here concentration of, you can change, maybe I change, yeah, it's x. So here we need to write x, and on y-axis there is a plot. If you see relationship, so mathematically student, this is a quadratic relationship. On y is equal to x square, and when there is a quadratic relationship between x and y axis, so y is equal to x square, that time the correct graph will be upward sloping curve which is passing through origin. So this is our correct graph. That graph shows quadratic relationship between rate and concentration, because rate is increasing but with a power 2 to the x. So students, here we can check our options. So this also option is not correct, and your correct option is D, showing quadratic relationship between rate and concentration, y is equal to x square.